The 2003 Queen's Birthday Honours were announced on 14 June 2003 for the United Kingdom and on 2 June 2003 for New Zealand. The recipients of honours are displayed here as they were styled before the new honour. United Kingdom. Knight Bachelor Kenneth Hugo Adam O.B.E. for services to film production design and to UK-German relations. Martin Arbab D.L. for services to charities, especially education. Professor John Hamilton Baker, QC, Downing Professor of the Laws of England, University of Cambridge, for services to English legal history. Professor Patrick Bateson, F.R.S., Professor of Ethology, University of Cambridge, for services to science. Professor Sushant Kumar Bhattacharya, C.B.E., Director, Warwick Manufacturing Group, University of Warwick, for services to higher education and industry. Ian Warwick Blair, Q.P.M., Deputy Commissioner, Metropolitan Police Service, for services to the police. Kenneth Darlingston Collins, Chairman, Scottish Environment Protection Agency, for services to environmental protection. Andrew Duncan Crockett, lately Chairman, Financial Stability Forum and General Manager, Bank for International Settlements, for services to international finance. Michael John Austin Cummins, Sergeant-at-Arms, House of Commons. Professor Richard Henry Friend, F.R.S. Cavendish Professor of Physics, University of Cambridge, for services to physics. John Christopher Gaines, Group Chief Executive, John Moleman AMP Co., plc, for services to the construction industry. Arthur Benjamin and Norman Gill, C.B.E., President, National Farmers Union, for services to agriculture, conservation and the community. Michael Stewart Hodgkinson, Group Chief Executive, BAA plc, for services to the air travel industry. John Anthony Holland, Chairman, Parades Commission for Northern Ireland. Dr. Alistair Allen Horn, C.B.E., Historian, for services to UK-French relations. Peter Lampel, O.B.E., Chairman, Sutton Trust, for services to higher education. Francis Henry Mackay, Chairman, Compass Group, for services to the hospitality industry and charity. Robert William Miller, lately Chief Executive, EMAP, for services to publishing and broadcasting. William Morris, General Secretary, Transport and General Workers Union, for services to trade unions. Charles Kenneth Roylance Nunnally, lately Chairman, National Trust, for services to heritage. Christopher John O'Donnell, Chief Executive, Smith & Amp Nephew plc, for services to the medical devices industry worldwide. Dr. John Oldham, O.B.E., for services to the NHS. Christopher Ondathia, C.B.E., philanthropist and benefactor, for charitable services to museums, galleries and societies. John Reginald Rowling, Head Teacher, Nunthorpe School, Middlesbrough, for services to education. Dr. Kenneth Robinson, academic writer and speaker, for services to art. Professor Edwin Mellor Southern, F.R.S. Whitley Professor of Biochemistry, University of Oxford, for services to the development of DNA microarray technologies. William George Taylor, Leader, Blackburn with Darwen Borough Council, for services to local government. Professor John Graham Temple, for services to medicine and medical education. John Touser, Managing Director, Barbican Centre, for services to the arts. Order of the Bath. Knight Commander of the Order of the Bath Brian Jeffrey Bender, CB, Permanent Secretary, Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. Richard John Broadbent, Chairman, HM Customs and Excise. Admiral Ian Andrew Forbes, C.B.E., Companion of the Order of the Bath Military Division. Rear Admiral Alexander Kirkwood Bacchus, O.B.E. Rear Admiral Jonathan Reeve. Air Vice Marshal Philip Wycliffe Rosa, M.B.E. Royal Air Force. Air Vice Marshal Andrew George Buchanan Valance, OBE, Royal Air Force. Civil Division Catherine Elizabeth Dorcas, Mrs. Bell, Director General, Services Group, Department of Trade and Industry. Terence Dennis Byrne, Director General, Law Enforcement, HM. Customs and Excise. George Q.B. Clerk of Committees, House of Commons. John Michael Dowdall, for Public Service. John Gant, Director of Finance, Inland Revenue. Roy Jason Griffins, Director, Aviation Directorate, Department for Transport. Stephen Jeffrey Hewitt, Business Design Director, Department for Work and Pensions. Gordon Hextall, Chief Operating Officer, Program and Systems Delivery, Department for Work and Pensions. Christopher Stephen Course, Second Counsel to the Chairman of Committees and Legal Advisor to the European Union Committee, House of Lords. John MacDonald Leon, lately Director General, Policing and Crime Reduction Group, Home Office. Hugh Finlay MacDiarmid, Solicitor to the Advocate General for Scotland. Clive Murray Norris, Director, Fire, Health and Safety Directorate, Office of the Deputy Prime Minister. Stephen Wentworth, Fisheries Director, Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. Order of St. Michael and St. George. Knight Grand Cross of the Order of St. Michael and St. George Sir John Robertson Young, K.C.M.G., British High Commissioner, New Delhi. Knight Commander of the Order of St. Michael and St. George John Frederick Mogg, lately Director General, Internal Markets and Financial Services, European Commission. Peter John Westmacott, C.M.G. L.V.O.H.M. Ambassador, Ankara. Companion of the Order of St. Michael and St. George Richard Harding Alford, O.B.E. Director Italy, British Council. Andrew Robert Fowell Buxton, for services to UK trade. Judge Ian Burns Campbell, lately Deputy High Representative for Legal Affairs, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bruce Harry Dinwiddie, Governor, Cayman Islands. Dr. Carol Dow, Chief Medical Advisor, Foreign and Commonwealth Office. Edward Charles Glover M.V.O., lately British High Commissioner, Georgetown. Air Vice Marshal Hubert Desmond Hall, C.B.C.B.E.A. F.C. for services to UK-Australia relations. Nigel Norman Inkster, Counsel at Foreign and Commonwealth Office. Michael Kirkwood, Chairman, American Financial Services Association, for services to the city and to the U.S. financial community in the UK. Brigadier Graham Cameron Maxwell Lamb, O.B.E., late the Queen's Own Highlanders. Professor Michael Lipton, Founding Director, Poverty Research Unit, University of Sussex, for services to international development. John McAlmon Little, C.B.E., lately member of the UK delegation to the European Economic and Social Committee and President of its Employers Group. Dr. Rosalind Mary Marsden, Director Asia Pacific, Foreign and Commonwealth Office. John Michael Scott, lately Head, Rural Livelihoods Department, Department for International Development. Percival Edward Tarling, Deputy Director General, General Secretariat, Council of the European Union. Royal Victorian Order. Knight Commander of the Royal Victorian Order Timothy Gerald Martin Brooks, formerly Lord Lieutenant of Leicestershire. Brigadier Miles Garth Hunt Davis, C.V.O.C.B.E. Private Secretary to the Duke of Edinburgh. Dr. Richard Paul Hepworth Thompson, Head of the Queen's Medical Household and Physician to the Queen. Commander of the Royal Victorian Order the Honourable Ronald Joseph Arkley, O.B.E. Chairman, the Duke of Edinburgh's Award, International Association. Major Nicholas Michael Lancelot Barn, L.V.O., Controller Equerry and Private Secretary to the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester. Martin Charles Bryan Bonzi, L.V.O., formerly Official Secretary, Government House, Canberra. Dr. Andrew Lewis Hamilton Gailey, Housemaster, Eton College. Sir Peter Harold Reginald Marshall, K.C.M.G., formerly Chairman, Joint Commonwealth Societies Council. Mary, Lady Carupole, L.V.O., Lady-in-Waiting to the Princess Royal. Kenneth Robert Williams, Q.P.M. for services to the Norfolk Constabulary. Lieutenant of the Royal Victorian Order Helen Andrea Louise, Mrs. Cross, M.V.O., Secretary to the Private Secretary to the Queen. Richard Francis Dobb, Secretary, Corporation of Trinity House. Roger Martin Eldridge, Managing Director, Camera Press Limited. Colonel David Valentine Fanshawe, O.B.E., Lieutenant, Her Majesty's Bodyguard of the Honourable Corps of Gentlemen-at-Arms. Miss Charlotte Elizabeth Manley, O.B.E., Private Secretary and Treasurer to the Duke of York. Jonathan Mark Marsden, Deputy Surveyor of the Queen's Works of Art. Terence John Regan, for services to the Duke of Edinburgh's award. John Garrett Spears, C.B.E., formerly Chairman, UK Faculty, the Prince of Wales's Business and the Environment Programme. Colin David Tweedy, O.B.E., Chief Executive, Arts and Business. Member of the Royal Victorian Order Kenneth John Appleby, Senior Property Officer, St James's Palace. Nigel Marcus Baker, formerly Assistant Private Secretary to the Prince of Wales. Stephen Harvey Caldwell, formerly Senior Property Officer, Windsor Castle. Major Munro Davidson, M.B.E.B.E.M., Superintendent, Windsor Castle. Gillian Mary, Mrs. Frampton, Nursing Sister, Windsor Castle. David Moffat, formerly Director of Private Clients, Aon Limited. Jeremy George Ponton, formerly Land Steward, Isles of Scilly, Duchy of Cornwall. Richard Anthony Skinner, formerly Director of Bentley and Skinner. Malcolm Richard Slater, Sales Manager, Bentley Mulliner. Warrant Officer Class 1 Brian Howard Michael Smith, M.B.E.M. S.M., Superintending Clerk, Household Division. Frederick George Stickler, Chief Forestry Officer, Crown Estate. Caroline Francesca, Mrs. Todd Hunter, formerly Queen Elizabeth the Queen Mother's representative, Queen Mary's Clothing Guild. Royal Victorian Medal. Royal Victorian Medal Anthony Vernon Parnell, R.V.M. Foreman, Sandringham House. Ashley John Sadler, R.V.M. Mechanic, Sandringham Estate. Bar to the Royal Victorian Medal Robert John Pine, R.V.M. Pastry Sous Chef, Royal Household. Royal Victorian Medal Michael Norman Back, Assistant Manager, Public Enterprises, Sandringham Estate. Constable Charles Clement Collings, Royalty and Diplomatic Protection, Metropolitan Police. Stephen Allen Grassick, Joiner, Balmoral Estate. Constable Ronald James Hayward, Royalty and Diplomatic Protection, Metropolitan Police. Christopher David Hilliard, Special Vehicles Manager, Alstom Transport. Frederick Arthur I.N.D., Estate Worker, Highgrove Estate. Raymond Frederick Keats, Painter and Decorator, Crown Estate, Windsor. Mark Jeffrey Lisk, Gardener, Sunning Hill Park. Charles George Lockyer, Telephone Engineer, Royal Household. John Henry Melton, Tractor Driver, Sandringham Country Park. Colin Missenden, formerly Divisional Sergeant Major, the Queen's Bodyguard of the Yeomen of the Guard. Keith Thomas Parker, Warden, Windsor Castle. Ivor Benjamin Reeves, Part-time Security Officer, Eton College. Roy John Reeves, Gardener, Crown Estate, Windsor. Arthur Malcolm Smith, Chef de Partie, Royal Household. Wayne Lawrence Sutton, Chauffeur to the Governor of Tasmania. Constable Russell Wood, Royalty and Diplomatic Protection, Metropolitan Police. Order of the Companions of Honour David Hugh Alexander, Baron Hannay of Chiswick, CMG, lately UK Special Representative for Cyprus. Sir Charles Mackerris, C.B.E., composer and conductor, for services to music. Professor Dan Peter Mackenzie F.R.S. Royal Society Research Professor, Department of Earth Sciences, University of Cambridge, for services to science. Order of the British Empire Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire Miss Elizabeth Violet Blackadder O.B.E. Painter, for services to the visual arts. Ms. Yvonne Helena Lane Buckland, Chair, Health Development Agency, for services to public health. Ms. Pamela Sarah Coward, Head Teacher, Middleton Technology College, Rochdale, for services to education. Dr. Jane Goodall, C.B.E. for services to the environment and conservation. Ms. Helen Mirren, Actress, for services to drama. Professor Julia Margaret Pollack, Head, Tissue Engineering and Regenerative Medicine Centre, Imperial College, London, for services to medicine. Miss Ruth Laura Robbins, Head Teacher, JFS School, Brent, London, for services to education. Anita Lucia, Mrs. Roddick O.B.E., founder of The Body Shop, for services to retailing, the environment and charity. Knight Commander of the Order of the British Empire Lieutenant General Cedric Norman George Delves, C.B.E. D.S.O., late the Devonshire and Dorset Regiment. Roger George Moore, C.B.E. for charitable services, especially to UNICEF and Kiwanis International. The Honourable Michael Aidan Pakenham, C.M.G. H.M. Ambassador, Warsaw, New Zealand. Order of New Zealand, Order of New Zealand, Honorary New Zealand Order of Merit.